Hi, my name is Sandra Bacon, and today I'm going to demonstrate to you the experiment that I had put into my inquiry investigation lesson plan. I am by myself this weekend, and the experiment did require students to work collaboratively together, so it would be very difficult for me to perform this experiment on my own. But definitely I will follow all the steps and list all the procedures of the experiment, and so you'll get a full idea of what was expected of the students. In this lesson plan, I started out by asking the students how would different surfaces affect the bounce height of a ping pong ball. Students were asked to get out their science notebooks and write this statement in there, and then come up and write a hypothesis statement as to what they thought would be the correct answer to this question. Most students probably would write that the ball would not bounce as high. As this is true, as teachers, we want them to investigate and inquire why. Why does the ball not bounce as high? What makes it different for each individual surface? So I gave students a bin on their table. In that bin was a ping pong ball, a meter stick, all my stuff is falling, a carpet square, a fabric square, and a rubber mat. Students were asked to bounce the ball 3 different times on each surface and create an organized table to transfer to a graph to share with their classmates later. On their table, they were to write the different surfaces, the carpet, the rubber mat, and the fabric square. They were to drop the ball. They were asked to just gently release it, not use their hand for force, don't throw it, and to drop it each time at the same height. They were asked to do it 3 times on the carpet, 3 times on the rubber mat, and 3 times on the fabric square. Once students were done, they then would add up the three readings, divide by 3 to get the average reading for each ball bounce. From that organized table, students would then transfer it over to a graph. Now students could do a bar graph, a pie graph, any type of graph that they wanted to do to display their information, so that they could then share their recordings with their classmates once the presentation was done. Students were asked to do a Y and an X axis. On the Y axis would be the bounce height in centimeters. On the X axis was the surface type. Students then could make it as colorful and as creative as they wanted to, just to make it more exciting and fun for them to create, and also more exciting for students to listen to as they presented their recordings to the classmates once they were finished. Once they were finished, the teacher also would inquire students by asking guided questions, and some of those questions were, what was a dependent variable? What we wanted students to know was that the dependent variable was what we were measuring. So we were measuring the height of the ball. Therefore, the height was the dependent variable. We wanted students to know that the independent variable was what we were changing. What we were changing in the experiment was the surface. We used the carpet, we used the rubber mat, and we used the fabric square. Therefore, that's what we were changing in the experiment, and that was the independent variable. The constant in the experiment was the ping pong ball. Now, what was it that we were asking for students? We wanted them to dig deeper and find out why. Why was the bounce height different? Not just that it wouldn't bounce as high because it's a carpet or it's a rubber, or not that it's just one's soft and one's hard. What we wanted students to learn from this experiment was that the effect that the ball's collision has with the ground is based off of the type of surface that the ball collides with. When a ball bounces off of a surface, some of its energy is absorbed by that surface. The more energy absorbed by the surface, the less that the less energy that remains in the ball for it to bounce. So that's what we want students to know, is that it's not just, it's not going to bounce as high. We want them to dig and inquire and investigate and learn that the carpet absorbs more energy from the ball than what it might absorb off of the rubber mat. And that's what makes the difference in the height, the bounce height of each different surface. We also wanted students to know the importance of why the experiment needed to be done 3 times. We want them to know that due to the potential of variation in the force used when dropping the ball, that having 3 recordings would allow for an average to be determined for a more accurate reading. I think this is an experiment that students would have fun doing. I think they would enjoy creating their graphs to be able to display to their classmates later. I do think it's also an experiment that they can definitely reach that final statement of the reason why that the ball, that the surfaces absorb the energy. So anyway, this is my experiment following the steps of the scientific method. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I hope that one day you too can apply this into your classroom. Thank you, and have a great day.